Everyone and welcome. The pattern and kits for today's flower is available at aupduckcreations.com, and as usual the link is in the description below. Today's flower is one of Mother Nature's most symmetrical flowers, the Pompom Dahlia. And usually making this flower involves attaching dozens of tiny little petals individually, but I've come up with a system that works smarter rather than harder, and hopefully you enjoy this video. The thing with dahlias, they can cover several seasons, depending on what colour you choose to use. But first of all, let's take care of business. Hit the subscribe and like button so you don't miss out on any videos. These are the materials that we are using today, and these are the tools that we're using. Let's start making this beautiful dahlia flower. And part of the videos I try to get a close-up and personal view so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I apologise, sometimes it does go out of focus just slightly for a second or so. We're going to start off with these 4 cutouts, and I'm going to start with the biggest one first so that you can actually see what I'm doing. We're going to glue in those petals above the centre part of the flower, just to make a cone shape. We need to leave that centre part of the flower completely free. We don't want any glue down in there. I usually glue in the centre of the petal, around about the belly button area, I guess, and then I attach the 2 sides together so it makes a complete circle. And I'm just going to speed through these other ones until I get to the smaller one, and I'm going to show you exactly what I do on that, because you don't need much glue on that one at all. And when I'm doing these dahlias, I tend to bring the glue down towards the centre, because you're going to end up with a lot of hot glue webbing, little strands of hot glue that you get a lot. And if you just drag it down towards the centre of the flower, you don't seem to get as many poking out. Now on this smaller one, you're going to do it in roughly the same position, but you only want a dab of glue. You don't want a lot of glue, because there isn't much surface to put the glue in there. You just need enough to make that cone-shaped petal. And after doing all this, you're going to have 8 layers of petals instead of the 48 individual petals that you usually have. Now we're going to start putting the flower together. I'm going to start with a small pom-pom, doesn't matter what colour pom-pom, preferably not a black one, I would say. And we're going to take the circle of felt and just snip around the sides, and we're going to cover that small pom-pom so it matches the same colour as the dahlia itself. We're just covering the top of the pom-pom, which is going to be like a cap, just in case you can see the pom-pom when we put it all together. Any bits at the side we're just going to trim off, make it nice and neat. I like these small embroidery scissors because the curved blade makes it easy to get into little nooks and crannies and get a nice clean cut. So this pom-pom we're going to glue into the centre of this first petal shape. And again, I'm gluing from the tip of the flower down towards the centre to try and avoid those webbings. And we're going to take every other petal, and bring them up onto that pom-pom. And carry on round and bring up the other 4 petals. and this is going to be the centerpiece to the dahlia. Now I'm going to use my wire and create a tabletop for the dahlia bud to sit on in the centre. Just curling the wire and bending it over to create that tabletop. Now for the second circle of petals, I'm going to put a cross in the centre of the flower just so I've got a bit of leeway to make sure it gets centred around the bud. It gives me a bit of wiggle room. And with this we're going to do exactly the same process as we did with the other 8 layers. We're going to put a dab of glue in the centre of the petal and curl it up into the cone shape. Now this row of petals that we're doing now is going to dictate where the next row goes, and we want to sit the next row in between these petals. And that's the pattern that carries on all the way through the flower. So get it in position, then we're just going to put a dab of glue right in the centre there, and we're going to get the petals situated in between that first layer. And this alternation of the positioning of the petals is the pattern that's going to carry on throughout the flower. Each row is going to sit in between the previous row. On these first 6 rows, we just want to dab of glue right in the centre there. Always check to make sure that each row is looking centered around the main bud. And then just glue in place in between the previous layers. For myself, this system seems to work better for me rather than putting each individual petal in position. I always seem to get too many petals on one side and not enough petals on the other side. With this system, I seem to get a nice symmetrical flower each time. Now for the last 2 layers, these petals seem to flail out a little bit, so we're going to put an extra bit of glue just to hold them in position. So instead of just doing the centre, we're going to go down the backbone of that flower that's going to sit behind, and that holds it in position and stops it flailing down. So glue down the centre and down the backbone of the flower that it's going to sit behind. Then this last row we're going to do exactly the same. Glue in the centre and then down the backbone of that flower. And just nestle them all in there. And that's the main part of the flower done. We just need to do the back of the flower and attach some leaves. And there we have it, one beautiful dahlia, without the stress of 48 individual petals. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Join us on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll see you again next time.